Hey, Ike. What are you doing?
I'm clearing a pathway through the sales minefield.
Minefield? Isn't that dangerous?
It doesn't have to be. Let me explain how to do it.
Okay, but can we get out of the minefield first?
You want to exit the minefield?
Yes.
All right, walk this way.
Well, okay.
Hi, this is Andrew Sokol, International Business Consultant and Branding Strategist.
And I'm sales trainer Ike Krieger, developer of the Your Open is Your Closed sales system.
Ike and I are dedicated to making advanced sales and marketing strategies available to small and mid-sized businesses.
These are techniques formerly available only to very large companies with very large budgets.
This video is one way you can have access to the business secrets of the world's most successful companies.
So relax, enjoy, and learn from this week's 5 for 5 video tip.
Ike, today's question comes from Deborah in Phoenix. Hi, Deborah.
Deborah?
And Deborah asks, what's the best way to deal with objections? Now, I'm really glad we're talking about this because personally, and I think I'm not alone when I say this, I'm terrified of objections because you never know when they're going to sour the deal or throw a monkey wrench into the sales process. Now, one of the things I like about your sales training is that you have a completely unique approach to dealing with objections. It's called the sales minefield, and I'm wondering if you would explain that to everybody.
Sure. The sales minefield is a tactic inside of the YES formula. And we've covered parts of the YES formula, but briefly, the YES formula contains 5 components, all designed to clear a pathway to yes or uncover a no that was going to happen anyway. And the one that we covered just recently was
CAN, C-A-N.
And what do those initials stand for?
Curious, authentic, and neutral.
That's exactly right. And curious, authentic, and neutral is how you should be during the sales conversation. And the best way to remember that is to
think like a doctor.
Think like a doctor. Now, we're going to cover the other 4 in upcoming 5 for 5s, but for this episode, I want to make sure that we cover Deborah's concern about what's the ideal way to handle objections. And for that, I recommend a tactic called the sales minefield. And we have a couple of illustrations that we can look at that will help clarify this concept.
Let's look at those.
Very good. Now, in this first illustration, you'll see what is usually promoted by traditional sales training, where you are standing on one side of the minefield and your prospect, hopefully your future client, is standing on the other. And it's your job to give them information, to convince them, to influence them, to come across the minefield and trust you that you'll guide them across safely towards an outcome they really want.
Now, there's a lot of mines there. What exactly are those?
Well, the mines are really the objections and concerns that most business people have before they go ahead and actually make a purchase.
Okay.
Now, if we look at illustration number 2, you'll see a uniquely different approach to this concept, one where instead of standing on the other side of the minefield, you're now standing on the same side of the minefield as your prospect. As a matter of fact, you're now arm in arm, and it's your job to guide them and you safely across this minefield.
And uncover these objections together.
Uncover them by looking for them, seeing them, bringing them up, asking the appropriate questions, and then diffusing them so you can, again, clear that pathway to yes, arm in arm with your prospect.
Because if you don't do that, you may have to deal with these objections at the end of the sales process when it's much more difficult.
Yes.
Or worse yet, these objections may never come up in the sales process. Later, you'll not get the job or the project and never know why and be frustrated and confused.
Yeah, in other words, these mines will blow up either now or later. It's best to uncover them and diffuse them.
Great. So how do people apply this in an actual sales scenario?
Why don't we do a little role play that, again, will help clarify. Why don't you be a owner of a company who provides a product or a service that really depends on an elaborate computer system.
Okay.
And I am a custom software developer and have a program that you really like.
Okay, great.
So,
Ike, I love your product. I'd like to move forward. What's our next step?
Well, before we move to a next step, and I'm pleased that you're ready to move forward, I just wanted you to know that it's going to take 6 to 12 hours to install the new software, and I wanted to find out how that type of delay might impact your business.
Oh, that's a problem. Does it have to be done during business hours?
Well, actually, it can be done after business hours, and what would be a good time so it wouldn't disrupt your workflow?
Well, anytime after 8 p.m. would be all right.
Well, since it takes 12 hours, if we were able to do it between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., that would be acceptable?
Be perfect.
Great, then let's move ahead.
I like that because it really uncovers a problem that had Ike not asked or brought up, he may never have found out about, and yet it would have been a concern of mine that would have prevented me from moving to yes.
Very much so. So we have an action step for you this week that is really based on, well, you've heard about frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
What I'd like you to do is think in terms of frequently asked objections. Get rid of the little squiggle there.
FAOs.
FAOs. So your action step for this week is to write down 3 FAOs, frequently asked objections.
And have the courage to actually take them into your next sales meeting and bring them up, because you'll find it's a very effective way to help guide your prospect to yes, clear a pathway to yes.
That is correct.
So do that this week. Check your program notes. There's some information in there that will be helpful. Meantime, I'm Andrew Sokol.
And I'm Mike Krieger.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.